The Street Corner Soapbox. The Street Corner Soapbox with Fausto and Willin. Podcast takeover. We're making a killing. Music to nightlife. Debauchery and street news. Serving it hot. We are some street news, movies and mayhem. The craziest guests, words from chaos. Get it off our chest. Rhode Island, worldwide, dark corners in all places. Speak how we live, radio show, smoking aces. Ladies and gents, for the people we're talking. Take the show on the road, right where you're walking. Yeah.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Street Corner Soapbox Podcast coming to you live. That's right, boys and girls. Street Corner Soapbox. Now, we all know during this crazy time with the pandemic, businesses are struggling. So we're here to support local businesses, and we need your help to do so also.
That's right. So subscribe to our Patreon, become a member to help support the show, and receive exclusive episodes and bonus content, as well as discounts on merch. That's patreon.com/streetcorner_soapbox2020.
Follow us on our website, streetcornersoapbox.com. That's right, boys and girls. We are back at Street Corner Soapbox. I'm back with my brother, Lord Willin.
Peace. What's going on, world?
What up, what up, what up?
Nah, man. Great guest on today. REKS, straight out of Lawrence, Boston, Massachusetts, hip-hop artist, lyricist. REKS, what's going on, bro?
Oh, REKS.
Peace. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate y'all taking the time.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on. I'm a fan for a long time, so it's dope to have you on. You're definitely you've been doing your thing on the independent hip hop scene for a lot of years.
Absolutely, man. Like, yo, salute to your your podcast and the opportunity you're giving artists and the fact that you're keeping it moving in such trying times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro. Trying to make the best moves we can during this hectic time.
Yeah, I see that. We all have had to make adjustments. So, I just wanted to shout you guys out for keeping it moving.
Yeah, bro, definitely. Bro. What are you down in Florida now?
I have relocated to Florida, but at the present time I'm actually in Boston.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, cool. Oh, you're back in.
Yeah. I'm out here handling some business.
No doubt.
I'm here for like about a week more.
Cool. Oh, yeah. How's things going down in Florida with the COVID situation and everything?
I feel it's kind of like the same. It's getting this bad rap as the wild west of what's going on.
Right.
But I feel people are understanding and mindful of other people's fears and apprehensions about being around certain things. And I think just like anywhere you go, you have some people who are adhering to following certain codes, ethics, and others not so much. Everybody has their own belief system. It's very difficult to trust a government like the one we have. So
Agreed.
You can understand across the board where there are some fears, there's some apprehensions, and some doubts. So
yeah, for sure.
It's no different down there.
Yeah, it's the same all across the country and world, actually, right?
Yeah.
I just want to say too, I was talking to M. earlier, and he said to say what's up. I told him that we were going to be interviewing you.
Yeah, what up to M. That's the homie.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Great dude right there.
So, REKS, you want to get into a little bit of your background, where you're from,
early influences.
This game, early influences.
Absolutely, I'd love to do that. Let's get to it.
Oh yeah.
So you started off. You got into hip hop. You're from Lawrence originally.
Originally from Lawrence, Massachusetts. And people know me. A lot of people, claim me as a Boston artist, and that can be said as well because I spent so many years living in Boston and spending time, in the Boston scene. But I was, raised in Lawrence and got my feet wet, my start in the Lawrence area and in that community. And just began doing it because I wanted to be doing what my older cousins were doing, like with the breakdancing and just being immersed in the culture in the late '80s, right around the golden era of the first golden era of the hip hop.
Yeah, you were part of a breakdance crew called Funktown Connection.
Absolutely, yeah. That was a short-lived little period of my time, but in my early youth, that's how I got started. was in that group, Funktown Connection. And we were, doing our thing, making a little waves in the Lawrence area, in the city, doing different performances and battles. And, I was super young. I was like, around 11 or 12.
Yeah.
So, it was very early on that I was immersed into the hip hop culture.
And that was basically your introduction to hip hop at that time.
So it wasn't my introduction. That was me just going further on. I believe the introduction came, hearing, I had aunts and family members who had old, records, from, the very early, essences of hip hop.
Right.
And I believe those records being played in the house and
you naturally you grew up hearing it.
Yeah, it was around me even prior to that, and then my first instance of recognizing the music was with Beat Street, and then it's weird, I did it backwards, didn't even get into Star Wars and Wild Style until after, seeing Beat Street. Beat Street was obviously, even though it was underground, it was a little more commercialized version of what culture was at that time. Right. So,
who are some of your favorite artists coming up around that period?
At that time, it was definitely KRS-One, Kool Moe D, LL, Slick Rick, Rakim,
yeah.
all of the natural individuals you gravitate towards. It was definitely a New York influence sound for me early on, and then having Edo G come out of somewhere so local, that changed everything. And then then we had Scientific, Rest in Peace, and Crumb Snatcher, and those were early local individuals who had a national spotlight on them very early when I was just a young kid. And to see that kind of let me know that it was possible for myself.
Yeah, shout out to Crumb Snatcher too, man. You got to mention him when you talk Boston hip hop. He was rocking with Gangstar back in the day.
Absolutely.
Big Shug, another one. Gangstar Foundation and all that. Definitely pioneers.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. So Rex, how'd you come up with your name, Rex? I kind of asked that.
So I've had.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you good.
No, I said you had Rex. They call you Rex for a long time.
Yeah, I've had two names throughout my hip hop career, and it was my first name was MC Rock.
Yeah.
It was everything had an MC in front of it, and I just that was the go-to for me. And then Rex came about because I was truly, like I said again, a big fan of KRS-One, and I loved the acronym idea, and so got that from that influence.
Hell yeah.
And I just wanted to create something powerful and long lasting that kind of represented who I felt I was as a true lyricist to the game. Mm-hmm. And then a truly committed artist to this culture that I love. So I felt that name, meant so much to being a hip hop artist and a true lyricist.
That you are, man. You definitely represent that. No question about it. So
Appreciate it.
When did you actually like start writing rhymes, freestyling, like, you know, messing around and you know, pretty much deciding like you wanted to do this for real?
You know, so the story goes like, you know, I was, again, it was Beat Street that I used to be watching as a young kid. And when I when I was in like, you know, grammar school, like it was elementary or like, you know, the early years, you know.
Yeah, like fourth.
I mimicked that Kool Moe D Christmas rap.
Okay.
And from that I used to go to the schoolyard and do these little performances of that song on this little makeshift stage that they had in the back. It was like just an elevated platform in the back that wasn't a stage, but we turned it into a stage.
Dope.
You know, and so this platform, I would you know consistently just do that until a girl called me out. She was like, "That's not your rhyme, yo." And so I had to start penning. So it must have been, like it was definitely around the same time. I would say like 89, you know what I'm saying? 90.
Okay, and when did you maybe record your first demo or basement track, freestyle type?
So my first recording must have been it was 96 actually. I'm positive. It was right after my first year of college at Amherst. That break, that summer, not summer, the winter break. Went home and we got in the studio and recorded for the very first time. And I recorded my demo.
Okay.
Which I'm planning to release at some point soon.
Oh, dope.
1999 BC or 2000 BC or something like that. But it was pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? And like it was an incredible experience to like have that happen.
Yeah, bro. And around that time when you were attending UMass, Amherst.
Amherst.
Yeah. You started building a reputation for yourself on the local scene. Were you doing shows at that time as well? Rocking open mics or anything?
So right at Amherst, I was like, I started attending and frequenting this local radio station in Amherst called Breath Control.
Okay.
I was like 91.5 or 91.1. It was my brother, David Tempkin, Shay Boogs was what we called him. And he had that radio station and we would go there and do our little freestyles, like sit there for like, and it was the time when we were really freestyling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like we would do these freestyles and we'd be in the station for like the entire show, just from the beginning to the end, just doing that.
Yeah, just freestyling.
Yeah, and it was an incredible vibe. And then when I got back to Boston that summer, it was over, man. I was in every cypher, in every freestyle, every battle, any event that was going on where there was an open mic. Shout out to the Western Front, Bar,
Hell yeah.
all these locations that like kind of like groomed me and allowed me a platform to like get out there and truly like get my feet wet when I was wet behind the ears. Didn't really like know much about the game, but these were my like building blocks. And obviously the Middle East, can't say too much about the Middle East. It's like it's been like a mainstay for us. Especially for me throughout my career.
Yeah, it's a staple of not only Boston but New England music, all genres.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been there for all different kinds of shows, performed there. And how do you feel? I guess it's up for sale, or I don't know. I don't think they've sold it yet, but I know I've heard that it was up for sale. Yeah, they're trying to sell it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
Were there places to perform in Amherst?
We had the Malcolm X Cultural Center, which was like the spot where we would go to have our weekend parties. And from time to time they would have little showcases and we were able to perform like that. But it's funny, like when I left Amherst, I was brought back, a few times to do open up performances for like the Clips. We opened up for Redman and Method Man there, De La Soul. We did a lot of showcases at there, like big venues.
Do you ever do anything at in Northampton?
I believe we did one event. I believe in Northampton we did a De La Soul show.
Word.
In Northampton. It's so long ago, but I know we did when the De La tour came through. We I believe that must have been the Stakes and High tour. We did like a few different spot dates with them. We did Worcester and we did Northampton, and I believe Amherst. It might have been Northampton, not Amherst with them.
So you dropped out of college and you started recording the album for Brick Records.
Facts. Like that summer I was done. I was like college dropout before Kanye. I was like, this is my time to shine. This is what I want to do. I don't need to go to school anymore to like, I'm not going back to a 9-to-5. This is what I'm doing for the rest of my life.
Hell yeah.
So at that point, like I wasn't thinking about, residual income and like, different streams of revenue, but like, I was definitely mindset that this was how I was going to make my income. And, you know, I engrossed myself in every cipher. Like I said, every battle I wrote like nonstop religiously. I had some instances where like, you know, I lost notebooks on the train, and I just wonder, you know, I remember these times of like, you know, a couple of times where I had filled notebooks because it wasn't this era of writing in your phone. And I mean, I'm still a writer. I'm a purist for writing in my notebook,
Yeah,
but
me too.
I do write on. I write on my phone as well.
Yeah.
But and it's just the convenience of it works. But it took me some time to even do that because I'm such a purist to like, you know, being with the pad and pen.
Yeah, it's a natural.
It's crazy how many notebooks I've done lost on the orange line.
Chris, have you lost a notebook?
No, actually, I keep all of them. I got them in fucking boxes, like a fucking weirdo.
Safe.
Yeah, dude, like just stacks and stacks of fucking
That's
notebooks.
gonna be a bad hit, dude. Or even something stupid happens, like your basement floods.
Well,
or
the
something.
problem too is like, the other thing is if you write everything in your phone, you got to make sure you back it up to an email.
Too. Yeah.
Exactly.
If something
I've had
happens
that
to your
happen
phone,
too.
dude, forget it.
Yeah.
You just lost everything.
I've had that happen as well. Yeah, I've had that happen, and it's brutal. So, you know, I've taken some bad hits, and like I'm just waiting for the time where I hear like somebody come out with some music and it's my lyrics.
Like someone stumbled along.
Going,
Yo,
I was like, that sounds so
Wait a
familiar.
minute. You're singing along the first time you've heard the song, but you wrote it.
Man, that'd be fucked up.
Yo,
man.
I know them bars, man. I know those
that
bars.
definitely has happened, I'm sure, at one point in time.
Yeah, but you know, it's cool, man. Like, you know, you can look back and laugh about it. You know, life full circle. My son, my oldest son, is recording now, and
nice.
he's recording. He's a producer and a rapper.
Dope.
And so he didn't back up his hard drive and lost a bunch of beats recently. And so he had his first instance of like, you know, lesson learned.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like make sure you back up for all you producers and artists out there. Make sure you got that hard drive and make sure that you focus on like, you know, backing your stuff up and taking your material seriously, man.
Real talk.
Yeah. You know, what's good about technology now, one of the good things is like with the drives and stuff, you can just pay and they just have it all there. I've done that before too. I've had externals that you keep stuff on, but now it's so easy you can just ship it. I mean, literally instantly from your laptop right to like a Dropbox or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what's your son go by? You said he's rapping and making beats.
I can't divulge any info yet. He's like, yo, he's MF doomed out right now.
Okay,
like, he's got this like little pocket he's in, and he's like, yo, dad, you know what I'm saying? And he doesn't want to like, you know, kind of like the whole. It's cool because like the whole Chris Rivers thing, and not trying to like, you know, nepotism not being the case in your situation, and like he doesn't want to like, you know, live off that and be you know, so like he wants to like earn his stripes and pay his dues.
Yeah, I respect that.
Which I super respect.
Hell yeah, because he doesn't want to try to shine off of your name. He wants to just get his own reputation.
Yeah. Well, like even he's gonna make it going into it with that attitude regardless.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of
the other thing is that one thing. Sorry about that, not to cut you off, but like the one key, like, you know, he's going to have, you know, like people to like sharpen his blade off of.
Yep.
He's gonna have family members. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he has access to like, you know, people who are my family, like Static and Term, and like just individuals who have played a part in his life since he's a little baby. You know what I mean? And so he has access to that, but like being thrust into the forefront and not earning his stripes, he's not about that.
Yeah, no, he's doing it the right way.
Oh yeah,
he's not just trying to eat off of what you've done and his people around him that you've brought him up around. You know, he's trying to, you know, because I've seen it in hip hop before where the son tries to, comes out with the father and that whole thing.
Of course.
It's dope.
Of course.
It's dope what he's doing. I like that. So I'll definitely keep an eye out. I'm sure someday you'll drop, you'll stop promoting it or something.
Oh yeah, of course, it's gonna happen. But like, you know, for the time being, he just prefer like, you know, it be the way it is.
No doubt.
You know,
rock with. How did you link up with Brick Records?
So Brick Records was actually shout out to my homies Schizophrenics.
Yep.
Rest in power to my brother Eddie Bones.
Yep.
EB, who produced like the intro to like my debut album, Along Came the Chosen. what occurred was I was having a cipher, and Checkmark was in the cipher. My homie Top Notch and Eddie Bones, and I believe there were a couple other individuals there, but those are the ones I can completely remember. And Checkmark was about to release a record with Brick Records, and he had stated, whoever bodies this cipher, I want to throw you on, this vinyl that I'm about to put out on Brick Records. And so I went in, and from that point, he put me on the record, and that was Schizophrenic State with Esoteric and Virtuoso.
Yep. Great
and
record.
that became my introduction to Brick Records. And from that record, they wanted to do a record immediately.
Nice.
And so we started working on that right away, and came out that fall.
Yeah, I remember you on the Come On Dude remix too. I remember that vinyl.
Indeed.
I was coming up. Let me just say, I was coming up, kind of getting into the hip hop scene when, I'm from Providence, but Boston was always like intertwined with Providence, like artists from Boston coming down, and then, artists from, we would go up to Boston for shows. So I remember
shout out to Roulette, what I'm saying, and like all the
Swan
all the the Rhode Island legends, man. Shout out to everybody who, we came up with, and exactly what you said. I remember we used to have this school bus that we were able to use, and we jam pack ourselves in as artists and travel down to Rhode Island. We traveled down to New York. We traveled down to Pennsylvania even. And, it was a back and forth kind of thing. Cause I remember Jedi Mind always being up north and us linking up with them down there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The same a couple of times in Connecticut, but Rhode Island was a mainstay.
Yeah.
Always a mainstay.
Yeah. Boston had a big influence on myself, and I think a lot of Rhode Island hip hop artists, just because it's so close, and there's so much dope fucking music coming out of this. Such as yourself, you said Schizophrenics. I mean, the whole, Brick was dropping a lot of stuff, and a lot of other artists as well, man. It was just a really dope time, the indie scene back then.
Exactly.
Notice that with New England touring is kind of like that. Everybody, because you can just get there in a car, go with a couple.
Yeah, we're all neighbors, you know what I mean? Boston's fucking 45 minutes away, dude. I'm out there all the time.
Exactly, no. It's basically the same area. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the same area. That's how I look at it.
So going a little forward, 2001 and 2, it was 2 busy years for you guys. You came out with your debut album, Along Came the Chosen, but you also were nominated for 2 awards at the
Boston Hip Hop, Boston Music Awards.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that happened.
Now you were nominated before or after you came out with that album?
It was after the album dropped. I was nominated, and I didn't win those awards, but that wasn't the only one. It was a few times I've been nominated for Boston Music Awards. I've never won one, which is totally fine in my book. I feel there's been some tremendous artists coming out of our scene, but in those awards, they're not the end all be all, the say all.
I mean, you still made the list.
Yeah, exactly.
The legacy. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, even making the list, because there's so many artists out there who are deserving and don't even make that list, and it's not a testament to who you are as an artist, or it's not the criteria for me to know how I can rate myself when it's all said and done. So I appreciate them. I appreciate the nods I get like that. But more than anything, getting a DM from just now I received DMs from individuals who I grew up listening to, and this is just that's the award for me. That's more than anything.
Your idols are recognizing you.
Yeah,
exactly. The ones you looked up to, legendary goats of the game, and even getting accolades and props from your peers, people you highly respect. That's enough for me, man. And knowing that, my legacy not being my children, my young queen and my young king, if they come back with some wherewithal and knowledge based off of what I've put out there, then I've done my job, and that's all that matters to me.
Yeah,
it sounds like you're doing it.
Very rewarding. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I remember when Along Came the Chosen came out. I was in school. I don't know. I forget what grade, but I do remember the album coming out. How did it feel to have the actual album out in stores? I remember seeing the CD and the vinyl, and hearing the songs on college radio and all that.
I mean, coming from a small city like Lawrence, man, and being able to accomplish those things, and ended up in magazine prints that I like. I used to save up to buy a magazine in XXL in the stores, and to see my name in these magazines that I grew up paying attention to, or to just to look at a CD and be able to see that, or walk around and see my posters up on the walls all across the city. It was surreal for me. It was something that, even though I was focused on attaining, I couldn't truly fathom it still in the midst of it happening. It was all kind of like a whirlwind for me very early on.
Now, were you doing a lot of shows and tours for that album?
What's crazy is I missed that boat, and we didn't travel as we could have at that early state. And at that early stage, we should have been, thinking globally. But my mind frame wasn't, as astute in terms of being able to, get out and being a part of the playing game very early on. I was just I was so happy to be, doing these local tours, and everything that I was doing was kind of centralized to New England. And outside of New England, we would do New York and Pennsylvania, New Jersey. We did the Rocksteady, the Rocksteady shows and Scribble Jam, and just different things like that. Getting out to Ohio or going places locally, that was the focus. When we should have been branching out, Europe became instrumental in my later career. So we did that early on. I feel we would have built something more.
Yeah, definitely, because obviously Europe and overseas is a big market, and they support independent hip hop over there.
Absolutely.
Which you obviously learned later on, because I'm sure pre-COVID, I'm sure you were touring over there pretty steady.
Yeah, pre-COVID, it was 3 times a year, a consistent 3 times a year. Switzerland is like a second home to me. I got so much fam out there. I still got clothes and bags over there, in Switzerland and in Poland. In fact,
hell yeah! Shout out to Poland. My Polish people.
Yo, Poland is one of that's one of my second homes as well. It's become increasingly difficult to not go through that process that I'm used to. Come certain parts of the year. I'm used to taking a flight and then mentally preparing for the exhausting steps and things that occur when you make that travel, and how it affects your body, your mind, your spirit. I'm used to just going through that and mentally preparing for it. So this is something new to mentally prepare for, the fact that we have an absence of that.
Yeah, it's sad, man. I hope we can get back to some kind of show scene sooner or later, or sooner than later. Yeah,
I wonder how that. I never know anything about anything traveling overseas or nothing like that, because I'm not an artist. But that's gonna be fucking. You might have to definitely mentally if you're going on tour for months, dude.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
but I mean, when you've been doing it for so long, you get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely get used to it. But it's so challenging on the mind and body and spirit. And that's why yoga and meditation play an integral role in everything that I do, and how it affects my day-to-day processes. I wake up, do my meditation, do my yoga, and that prepares me for the taxing processes of the day.
Oh yeah.
Just even here being in Boston, coming to see family and friends and stuff like that is cool. But I'm here to put in work, and in the midst of that, I got to make sure my mind is right before I go put in this work, especially when you got to be super safe out here, and you got to follow certain guidelines while you're here.
Yeah.
So all that ties in, and it has an effect on the nature of things. But we move at a different speed. I eat differently than a lot of individuals in terms of my diet is strictly plant based. Nothing but like the best things for the immune system.
Yeah.
And immune system boosters are vital for me.
Especially now.
Yeah. But
ever.
like walking this line has been important. Just being a black man in a society in a culture that that offers like certain kind of foods. Obviously, all human beings on this earth, but specifically me as a black man, I know what it's like to have the threats of
like high cholesterol and shit.
early diseases and sicknesses, and those are the reasons why it's imperative for me, not only for myself but for my children, to be like, look, this is how we got to focus, and this is how we got to not only for our bodies we need to do this, and for our minds we got to stop negating the generational wealth, the things that are popular now to say. These are things that we've been prepping for a while now. So for my kids, like I got them involved in the stock market early, and now I got them reading the books and focusing on how they're going to understand the game. Exactly. So moving forward, it's my body and spirit. I don't so much give them the spiritual aspect other than the way they see me live my life. But the reason I don't do that is because I don't want to affect or put in their face what they have to believe.
You want them to grow on their own.
Yeah, they have to have their own belief system. And they have to get to. So that's the one aspect where I'm not like, yo, here.
You're not putting it in their face like you said. Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly, but their belief systems have developed on their own, and I'm proud of them for that. My two youngest, they still celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate Western holidays. I mean, we did Kwanzaa this year. Like my young kings, they did Kwanzaa as well. We're doing it from a distance because they're with their mom for the break, but they're with me all year.
It's great that you're tuned into all this, and
that's awesome.
And you're spreading the knowledge to your kids. It's very important. I think society in general needs more of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me ask you this too, because you mentioned meditation and yoga, and I'm a big proponent of meditation. I've been into martial arts my whole life as well. How did you? I've done a little yoga, not a lot, but how did you get into that? I'm just curious because you brought it up.
Okay, so my initial initiation into it came, very early, but I didn't have extreme interest in yoga or meditation. When I first heard about it, it was something that I kind of shied away from. But I wasn't prepared for something like that because spiritually I was dealing with certain kind of warfare in my own being. But my queen that I have right now is one of the most beautiful souls that you can come across, and she's one of the individuals. She's the individual who affected me the most when it came to yoga and meditation, and how I needed to take time to honor myself and truly be selfish about caring for self.
Oh, yeah.
And so she brought that to me, and it was a dueling experience. And I had to battle to get to the point where I was ready to internalize and deal with a lot of the damage that I've done to myself over the years. But I'm here. I have the ability now to walk in a different light because of that. And so I'm thankful to my queen. You know what I'm saying? She's consistent in her growth, and I'm consistent in my growth, and now we're growing together. My reading on a regular daily basis in so many spiritual books, not just Eastern ideologies and belief systems, but I study Western ideas as well. I read the Bible and Quran daily, but I also read the Bhagavad Gita and the Tao Te Ching.
Nice.
And I'm focused on that. And my belief system is closest to Shetat Neta, which is Kemetic Egyptian belief systems, and the belief in Planeta, which is the total existence.
Okay, I've heard the name. I'm not super familiar with that. You want to explain what that is a little bit?
So what it is individuals who know mythology, through Greek mythology, which is the most popularized belief system. That belief system prior to that, and where that originates from is when I say Kemet, it's what people know as Egypt, right?
Yep.
In Kemetic teaching, again, in Egypt, in Kemetic teaching, and in Kemetic belief systems, there's a focus on the mythology, the ritual, and the mysticism.
Okay.
So those are aspects that are missing in a lot of belief systems where religion is very dogmatic, and the beliefs are like, you know, when you're practicing certain rituals or you're dealing in mythology, this is very pagan and it's very evil, which is the furthest from the truth. It's extremely spiritual, and the belief system of yoga, that system is written actually written in Kemetic text from the earliest ancestors' days. It's like a system called Smaitawi, which is the unification of the upper and lower half, or the unification of like when you think of your chakras and the 7 main chakra centers, those centers are to be unified. Your lower cells dealing with like, you know, your more egoistic aspect of you, and your upper half being what you're trying to transcend to. Go beyond this physical into like the oral, which is just outside of you, and the causal, which is everything further out. Yeah, we can get, you know, super deep into
what
all that is. But like,
you got me hooked. You got me hooked.
Well, I'm interested because you just, you know, you're talking about a different perspective of things. I mean, I'm into Eastern philosophy, but I'm not too educated on the stuff you're talking about right now.
What was the actual name of the practice again?
Okay, so it's a spirituality in the belief system is Shetat Neta, which is Shetat. Neta. Neta is, for lack of a better term, it's God. You know, the term, like when we give a name to the absolute, we're kind of like limiting it. God is limitless, so it's difficult to even say that. But Neta would be God, and Neteru would be the gods and the god and the goddesses.
Yep.
So like in Greek, it would be the Ennead, which are the 9 main mythological gods and goddesses. From Ra, you get so for terms like in Greek, it would be a little bit different, but in Kemetic teaching, it would be Tefnut, Shu, Nut, Geb, which are the first founders. From Nut and Geb, you get Sar and Aset, who are more familiarly known as Osiris and Isis. Asar and Aset, and from Asar and Aset, you have Heru, which is Horus. You have Neptet, Set, and then you have Ampu, and then you have Heteru. And then from these 9, you have all these different gods and goddesses that are controllers and help us consistently deal with, you know, different natures of our personality and who we are on a regular basis. So every day when I wake up and I do my internalizing through my meditation and my yoga, I also make sure that, you know, I go out and I'm honored by the sun, the water, the trees. I talk to the trees, I talk to the water, I talk to the sun, and then I give thanks to the all, which is the absolute existence, and I also give thanks to our gods and goddesses, our ancient ancestors, for what they instill in us on a day-to-day basis.
So you're very in tune with nature. These practices.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The goal is to be more like water, to be more like the wind, to be more like the trees.
I dig it.
I especially love the trees and the water, you know.
Now you mentioned yoga. Yoga was, they were practicing yoga in this system. Because when I think yoga, I think of like Hinduism and
of course,
Indians.
And so like it's tough because like it's not my goal to like lay claim and say, you know, yoga didn't start with the Hindu or the belief systems. Like we can get into the Vedas, we can get into the Upanishads and all these different places where the belief is that yoga started there. What's written in text is written in text. So, you know, these yoga poses, the beliefs of these yoga poses, because yoga, as it became westernized, became more like commercial. And yoga is absolutely a spiritual thing.
Yep.
So it's more spiritual than anything. And like I said, if you go back to the Kemetic text, specifically the T.H.I.N.G.S, which is, commercially or like more modernly known as the Egyptian Book of the Dead.
Yep.
Okay. In this book, you'll find a lot of those things. But so we can delve into a lot of things, because not only there with the yoga, just a little quick segue. When you read the Bible, you have the 10 Commandments. In this book that I'm talking about, thousands of years prior to the Bible, you have the 42 laws of Ma'at. Ma'at has those same 10 Commandments in the laws.
Really?
So there are 32 laws that are missing. Yes, for the individuals who left. Yeah, so if you look up Ma'at, M-A-A-T, you'll find the laws, the commandments that were supposed to be followed and adhered to. And thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. All these are beliefs on a regular basis.
We're missing a third, 2/3 of that.
Yeah, where's the rest?
The reality is that a portion of them were taken. Every single one of them are in those 42 laws of Ma'at.
Is that the same thing as the Egyptian Book of the Dead you were talking about? That's just
they're found within.
Yes, if you go to the Egyptian Book of the Dead, so if you're going to read that book, there's a few versions. There's a brother by the name of I believe it's Wallace Budge. He's an individual from England. Who they would say Egyptologist, and he would write after the Rosetta Stone came and everybody was able to translate certain things. He was able to translate this book, which became the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Now again, the translation is written as the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It should be more closely in English translated to the Book of Coming Forth by Day. And the difficulty is that with individuals in Western culture have a tendency to translate things based on the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the translation is skewed. And if you're not studying these belief systems that I'm talking about, that means honoring the mythology, the ritual, and the mysticism, then you get lost.
Yeah, okay.
You're going to be in flux. You can't just read it and just attempt to dissect and understand and truly discern what's being said.
It was a lifestyle. You have to live it.
Yeah, exactly. You have to immerse yourself. You have to immerse yourself in it. You have to immerse yourself in it. Just like any belief system. If you're gonna truly be able to dissect the words that are being stated to you, the closer you are to it by ritual and by it being part of your spirit, the closer you're going to be able to understand it.
Oh yeah.
No. So yeah.
Now I've seen documentaries. I've read a couple things about how there's comparisons from Egypt, from ancient Egypt. I guess you would call it. I don't know if you call it Egyptology or whatever, but like figures that resemble Jesus and all that stuff, and they were basically borrowed from whoever wrote the Bible. Basically borrowed it.
Ishtar.
Horus, something with Horus.
Ishtar.
Oh,
absolutely.
Ishtar.
Okay, so.
And that's what Easter is based off of that. You'll get into it.
Yeah.
Ishtar. Yeah. So that right there though is not Ishtar is not Egypt. That's closer to I don't want to say I don't want to misspeak. It's either I want to say it's not American. It's not American. I'm at a loss there, so I don't want to
I'm gonna look. I thought it.
So Ishtar is not Egyptian text. So.
But that would be one like a version.
Well, I know I've seen something about Horus.
That would be a closer to that would be so Ishtar. We'll get into Horus, but Ishtar is closer to Set, which is Isis. Okay, and that's the female. That's the Madonna, which would be called the mother, which would be Mary.
Yep.
And so Set or Isis is the mother of Horus or Heru. Heru is definitely the closest thing to that storyline. If you read in the book of Coming Forth by Day, by popularity, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, you will be able to read about the Holy Trinity prior to there being a Holy Trinity.
Yeah, that's it.
There was exactly. So it's Osiris, Isis, and Horus.
Yes.
Exactly. So the story of Osiris, dying. Being killed by his brother, Set, and that's very similar to a story as well. I know.
Yeah,
we know of a story of a brother.
Yeah.
We know of a story of a brother killing his brother.
Right.
and then, from that situation, this individual comes back. He comes back and he becomes, on a transcendent plane. And so the same way, I don't want to break down Christianity for all the individuals who believe and have their understanding based on the system that they adhere to and have learned their entire life. But like, I would advise individuals to dig into Constantine, dig into the Council of Nicaea. And there's been various councils of Nicaea. There's been various ecumenical councils where these individuals, they decided on the date of Easter, they decided on the date of Christmas, they decided Christianity would be the law of the land.
Yeah.
And these occurred. These are factual occurrences from the year 300 all the way to the 800 Anno Domini AD. So after people were persecuted, and I'm talking about several messiahs, not just one messiah.
Right.
There were several messiahs because a messiah was an individual who's basically a rebel to the Roman way of law at the time. So the messiah, there were several messiahs, killed on crosses. And from that point, go ahead.
Do you think Christianity just gained so much popularity because of politics?
Oh, absolutely. So I honestly, in my belief system, Constantine needed something to control the people. He needed something to unify the people, and that was it.
Yeah, because the stuff you're talking about predates Christianity. Well,
so the stuff I'm talking about in terms of when we get into Kemetic texts,
yeah,
and even when you get into some, because we haven't even talked about Sumerian, we haven't talked about Hinduism, we haven't talked about anything that predates all the stuff that we're talking.
Yeah,
but like those belief systems, they have similarities in their storyline when you get into Eastern philosophy,
right?
And people can like the original, if you go to India, like obviously it's similar to anywhere in the world now where we're all a mix. We're hybrids of what our former selves are, right? But Ethiopia or Kush from the beginning of time, if you look at an ancient Ethiopian or a Kushite from that period in time, and you look at the ancient Dravidians before the Aryan came from the north and came to the south, and it was intermingled. People were intermingled. If you look at them, they're the same people. They're the same exact people.
Yep.
There's no way the people in India, the original in the Indus Valley, and the people in Ethiopia, the individuals who ended up going north and ended up in Egypt, are the same people. And so that says a lot to like why there are belief systems that are similar. They're cross beliefs.
Yeah.
And obviously they were trading with each other and so many things. So written into the terracotta and into the text, like I said, into the structures themselves, you'll see some of the same kind of like images and art.
And that's where civilization began, correct?
Absolutely.
In that region.
We're told now Sumerian, recently they're going to say like, certain things happen, prior to them. And like, there are people who believe, that, everything started in Sumeria. I don't really care like where you say it started. It started in a specific area of the world. Right.
That region.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
no matter what.
In that region.
Yeah.
In that region, whether there was an outpour of people from Sumeria into, it's not even Africa, like we call it Africa, but it's really a Kebulon. Like, I don't want to.
I'm not even familiar. What is that? I don't even know what that is.
Yo,
the original name of the continent.
Listen, we need to we accept and believe what we believe. Like, Osiris is the name, but like I don't say Osiris, I say Asa.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's who he was. As a Kemetic individual, that's who he was, Asa. And so, whatever the case may be, the land that we know as Africa, or if it's, you want to say Sumer, if you want to say Sumer, if you want to say Babylon, you want to say, Iraq.
Yep.
You want whatever you want to say, regardless of the case, what came before India. I'm at a loss, but like, whatever the case you want to call these lands were interconnected, and they were some of the same people across different lands. The melanated man is the original man in all lands. Like, it doesn't matter what land it is, and we become hybrid from that.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's just the reality. We are all the same
and that's
people.
How there's so many different versions of everything.
Exactly, and people need to recognize. I mean, this is pretty common now, but the Catholic picture of Jesus is so far from what he, if he really existed, what he would have looked like.
Oh, of course. I mean, that's a picture of
Caesar Borgia, right, or something like that.
Well, no, it's this dude's cousin. Like, the most popular image is an image of I believe it's Michelangelo's family member.
Okay.
who sat for a portrait to be the face of Jesus. So the most popularized version is that. Okay. It's a painting, and it's known that it's a painting of, that's somebody's cousin. That's my cousin. Look at the picture of my cousin, yo.
Yo, that's my cousin. That's my cousin in the church over there.
There's like my guy right there. He's in the stained glass.
I mean, it's the catch-22. I mean, man, you got the most famous face, but at the same time, they're not giving you your name.
Yeah.
So like, it is what it is. At the end of the day, like, so it's not the Bible that anyone should have a problem with. It's not the Quran anyone should have a problem with, or the Torah. It's the people who implement and institute, like, false narratives, when it comes to them. Because, again, I read the Bible every day, and there's so much to learn and to be had from it. There's so much to learn and be had from the Quran. There's so much to learn and be had from the Torah.
Yeah, I agree.
But the way they're being used and the way the people are manipulated to believe certain things. When someone tells me, who cares what Jesus looks like, or who cares, like, we gotta get past that nonsense. Like, you're saying who cares what he looks like, but like you're being told a false narrative.
Yeah,
you feel me? Like, you're being told a false narrative. So how can I trust any of the other aspects of it? Now, if I like, again, talk about, the 42 laws of Ma'at, people think I'm crazy till they actually look and see it's written in text.
Yeah.
This is there's no refuting it. It's the fact.
Yeah.
And even if you go back and look at the Song of Solomon, I'm telling you, the Song of Solomon, there's an original version of that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, you delve into all these different beliefs, all these different systems, and you're gonna find something. You're gonna find an original text, and it's just rewritten.
Well, they said Josephus ghost wrote the Bible. He was like a Roman.
Who Shakespeare?
Oh, was it Shakespeare? No, was it?
Oh, I've heard that version.
Okay, no, I never heard the Shakespeare version actually, but I was talking. I think his name was Josephus or something like that. He was a Roman, some scholar or something. Bro. And
yes.
Well, he rewrote the Bible.
He ghost wrote the Bible. So he might have actually taken all the stuff.
That's what's King James.
No, King James was later, but this is maybe he was taking the stuff that Rex is talking about and just created a whole new version of it. Yeah, I mean that's what it sounds like.
Or even since everybody traveled and intermingled, and it's like not now where every hotel room has a Bible. Back then, it was only kind of by word of mouth.
Yeah,
really, you know. So everything's it's only by memory back then. You're talking.
Yeah, thousands of years ago.
Yeah. There wasn't. It's not like it's not like they were carrying books around. They were just telling stories of what they
oral
heard,
traditions,
or what they heard from their parents or their grandparents and whatever.
Right. I mean, the facts come out.
Wild.
Once the facts come out, and like like you can't refute what's already written, and like when it starts to when you start to put two and two together, you're like, well, okay, I've been lied to this entire time, and that's where a lot of my intuitive mind, when I was a young kid, when I was very young, I wanted desperately to be with my grandparents who were Jehovah's Witness and always go with them. I would go door to door and knock on doors, and I would, I'd be presenting people with the watchtower. I had my little speech, my little spiel that I was going to say once they came to the door. I was going to kick a little game about the watchtower and the awake. You know what I'm saying? And that was my introduction to that belief system. And then my mom, made sure that I was going Sundays to the Pentecostal church in our neighborhood. So I had an introduction there. And I used to listen to the 5%ers on the corner. And you had my introduction there. And through all this beliefs, all these different belief systems, I always questioned, some of the narratives that were being, woven for me, because they didn't tug at me as closely as what I believe now does, and they didn't vibrate with me to make me vibrate higher and transcend beyond just this physical plane, which I think is the most missing aspect of every individual. Is a higher connectedness.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think you can find it. There's so many different ways you can find it, but the important thing is to get in tune with it.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me ask you this too. Back to Egypt a little bit, real quick. How do you feel about the whole theory of ancient Egypt being visited by extraterrestrials, and that explains the pyramids? Does that tie into anything that you're into?
It doesn't specifically tie in, but I don't refute any of that. To be as arrogant or naive to believe that we're the only individuals who exist on this planet is completely lost.
Yeah.
To think that way, I think I don't want to call people out their names, but I do believe individuals need to truly look at the nature of how minuscule we are as speck on this earth, and how vast this world, this universe is, and then this universe, because we can talk about what goes beyond that.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I'm saying? So we're talking about this universe,
right?
So yeah, I'm not that naive to believe that we're the only ones here. But my belief system doesn't tie into that, but more so because it's so much deeper than that connection, because I don't truly. I'm working towards not really looking at existence in its most physical aspect and nature, which is us being, having the gift and the curse, which is the gift of, insight and knowledge, but also the curse of insight and knowledge. And so we have a tendency to deal with the physical plane of things. And when you deal with the physical plane of things, you're caught up in your senses, and your senses guide you to partitions which don't truly exist. Right now I have a television in front of me. It has Netflix on it. But in actuality, none of this is truly in existence. This is all interconnected. We are all one. But because of our ability to hear, see, feel, all these things create us having a connection to material nature, when we should be beyond material nature. We should be connected to the Akasha, or what's beyond us, the causal plane.
Very interesting.
I have a question for you. You can feel free. You can answer it, and I answer. But have you ever messed around with psychedelics at all? Because I haven't. Everything you said, it was everything psychedelic related.
Yeah.
Have I ever messed with psychedelics? You said?
Yeah, say psilocybin or something pretty much psilocybin. No, really.
I haven't, and the truth is I don't feel I don't knock anybody for delving into shrooms and different things like that, because that's mind opening. Mm-hmm. And what's the other one? DTM?
DMT. Is that what it's called? DMT. Yeah.
DMT. Okay, my fault. So with all that, it's mind opening. Yeah. But I feel everybody has their way for a gateway.
Agreed.
And my gateway is just to sit down, cross my legs,
meditation,
and to breathe.
Yeah.
Once I breathe, Once I breathe and I separate myself from this existence, I connect with the all.
Yeah.
You know, and that's when you start to lose sight, smell, and all these other things, and come to the dark. And from the dark, you're able to connect completely.
Yeah.
And that's when you start to like, you know, astral plane and travel.
Yeah,
That's a beautiful thing.
I have a very good friend who he teaches martial arts, and one of his masters, he knows people, or maybe he himself too. They're able to reach a state similar to DMT through meditation, and they've never experienced or messed around with psychedelics, but through intense meditation, they've described a similar experience to taking DMT or maybe shrooms too. I don't know. So I mean, I truly, absolutely believe in that, and I feel the most powerful way to have those effects is not to lose sight of. Obviously, you know, we can meditate, but with our meditation, we need to have study be a part of what we're doing. We need to study, you know, different aspects of the belief systems, the mysticism specifically, and the other rituals, like, you know, certain chants, you know, just like, you know, we can do the Om, right? Yep.
And we can do that on a consistent basis. But I also do, you know, I do Asad, I do Ra Tefnu Shunatged, and I'm saying all my gods and my goddesses on a consistent basis, to call them out and to, you know, make sure that they're here with me on a day-to-day basis. And saying their names out brings them here closer on a regular basis. And so those are very important aspects and rituals that we have to do. Like when we sage our home, when we clean our home, open the windows, sage the house, and sage the individuals who enter our home, that's a very important ritual. When we light our candles, when we light our incense, all those things that are considered to be like, you know, taboo and negatives are actually absolute necessities and positives. And then we can get into the crystals. Like right now, I'm wearing my chakra crystals, have my lapis lazuli. You know, we into all of that.
Cool.
We into all aspects of that.
Yeah, no, I dig it, man. I got some crystals and stuff. I can't say I practice it regularly, but I'm it is cool stuff though. It's definitely something I'm open to.
Yeah, I got crystals. I got sage.
Or,
We're a mile.
I would say, yeah, get the Crystal Bible, Judy Hall, incredible, you know, real simplistic book that gives you like an understanding of, you know, the different crystals, the uses, how to cleanse them, how to, you know, connect them, where to place them on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah,
and a very important thing is not having other individuals touching your crystals, whether they have positive or negative energy.
Together.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't good to have together because they like balance each other off and stuff.
Exactly,
You know,
some are counterbalancing.
Exactly,
well.
they go because it's a pretty purple, like I'm gonna buy it. Well, you have all these other stones. It's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna really be benefiting you at all. And cleansing them is a huge thing. Even if people touch them, just being in the room with that energy, kind of like you have to.
Exactly. And the color schemes matter. Like, you know, the more vibrant, darker colors are good for like energy raising, and, you know, like something more light, like an angel light blue is very good for a cool, calming effect, which naturally makes sense. You know?
Rex, now aside from, you know, daily practice, do you have any plans to do anything with like your studies, your knowledge, your you know, because you're a writer, obviously.
You're saying, do I have plans to
like, I don't know, like maybe write a book? I don't know anything. Like,
I'm writing a book. I am writing a book, and
cool.
Also
there we go.
Also outside of that, like my queen and I, we're eager to, like, because Florida is not the final destination for us, like in terms of where we plan to, like, you know, permanently reside. We're gonna end up in Georgia, and when we get there, and we have our home and everything situated, we're going to be focused on, we have some extremely great ideas in terms of like our food education, how we're going to like educate individuals on what we need to put in our body. And then in the midst of all that as well, we're going to be teaching and most likely it'll be, you know, podcast connected in some way, shape or form, as far as, you know, financial literacy. And then also like what we're talking about right now, which is, you know, reconnecting with the all, you know.
Yeah, very cool, man. We'll have to have you back just to talk about that. When we kind of went on a rabbit, we went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
That happened.
That was dope, though. I mean, that kind of opened up my mind to some more things that I'm gonna have to look into. I dig it, man. That's what
There
it's
you
all
go.
about,
See,
man.
we talked about it.
Nah, that's great.
Opens your mind up to
Yo,
things.
for real, man.
Yeah,
You want to get back to the music?
Yeah,
a
so
little
we're
bit
gonna go rewind a little bit. So
That was a good segue. Yeah.
I love it. We both fuck with it, me and Chris.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was
it's
good.
that was actually
dope.
awesome.
That was
We're
good.
spitting some knowledge. So Rex, 2003, released Reckless album. And back then you were selling albums out of your car.
Yep. Yeah. Like
Grinding.
we just were following the Master P model. Like we were like, okay, like yo, this looks like the wave. Like this looks like where things are headed, and I wanted to try my hand at it. Sink or swim, hit or miss. We were like, we're gonna try this method, and we were literally flagging down cars at stoplights and being like, throw this in your tape deck. At the time where that was obviously the big thing. Throw this in the tape deck. Throw this in the CD player. They throw it in. Give me whatever you have, like whatever's in the change console, console, whatever you got.
Yeah, just
$5, $3, $7, $10, whatever it is, whatever you feel it. And we were selling a bunch of CDs. We did well in a different method and a different environment, and created a word of mouth in the city of Boston, which was like really incredible. But that also limited us because that CD was limited to Boston or wherever I was going to. Wasn't in stores.
It was just strictly pretty much hand to hand.
Out of the trunk, man.
Yeah.
Straight independent.
It was really that. It was really that.
Yeah, not even at no bodegas or nothing. Just
well, I don't know.
We had it at bodegas. We definitely. I did some consignment deals. I actually did some personal consignment deals with Newbury Comics. Like they would pick up like 10 CDs, and we do it on consignment. Skippy White's and just the local spots in Massachusetts that kind of adhered to that. I even brought it to the flea markets and had people selling them in the flea markets. Like people would take 5 to 10 off my hand, and it was working. But ultimately life happened, and that was the period that kind of was a transition for me.
Yeah, and then so down the road a little bit, when did you link up with Static Selector exactly?
So Static and I connected before my first album.
Okay.
That Static was actually before he was doing what he's doing, even in coming up with Show Off.
Yep.
Before that occurred, Static and I had linked because he wanted to book a local legend by the name of Elder Head Toucher.
Yeah, yep, no doubt.
People who know Elder Head Toucher or Larry Chiba.
Yep.
He wanted to book him. So my manager had to connect at the time. My manager was actually Shay Boogs, who was from Amherst.
Okay.
My homie on the Breath Control show. And he had to connect. But he was like, in order for you to get Elder Head Toucher, you need to let my boy Rex rock. And so from that point, I did my little set. Static loved it, and we vibed. He started DJing for me around the city. And then, from that, he got on the first album. He got on the first album with one record. That was his first placement. Static had never even been on a joint. That was the first connection between Static and I. But then, later on, us being reuniting in terms of the music, it's because I took a long hiatus. A big gap happened from 2003 to 2008.
Yeah.
And that's because I was through with music. 5 years of that time, I was like, I'm not going to do music anymore.
You weren't doing.
I was going to go be a.
No, I don't want to cut you off, but you weren't doing any music during that period.
No, so I was recording, but not with the intention of really doing anything with it.
Okay.
I didn't know what I was going to do. It was in flux because this is 2003. This is when my young king Vicky was born.
Okay.
So, and I got married. And so I'm a husband, a father for the first time, doing music, not really making much money off of it. Again, we were selling CDs out of the trunk. Yeah. And I needed it to be realistic about my future and this was the first moment where I was like, I had my doubts on whether this was the correct career path. And so because of that, you know, I decided to, you know, do the 9-to-5 thing again.
Okay. Life happened.
Yeah.
Life happened, and it hit me in the gut very well. You know, because like the reality is, like, you know, we can say that's what our career is going to be, all we want. It doesn't mean that that's where life is going to take you.
Right.
And so, you know, I wanted to be a good husband. I wanted to be a good father, and I wanted things to work. And so, you know, I had to go back to the drawing board with that. And so, yeah, I was recording, but not really. It wasn't a focal point of mine because I was spending all my time, you know, working. And, you know, it happened that in 2000, I believe it was like around 2007. At this point, I was living in Florida for the first time, you know. I was in Florida at the time, and Static came down for a visit. He was doing like some kind of showcase, him and Term, and Static came to me and he was like, "Look, I'm starting up this little indie, and I want you to be a part of it. You know, try to do one album. If it works, cool. If not, then, you know, you move on. You just do what you're doing." And that's Gray Hairs.
Yeah.
And
incredible
Gray
album
Hairs,
too. Really good album.
Appreciate you. And from the Gray Hair success, that allowed me to reposition myself and know that, you know, this was something that I could do and was viable.
Well, I just want to say when I heard Say Goodnight, man, fucking that, I was like, yo, this shit. I was like, because I remember you from back in the day, and then I heard that, and I was like, yo, this dude's killing it right now. That song was crazy, man. The premiere beat, I mean,
I appreciate it, and that was just like a game changer. Like that opportunity, like, you know, it opened so many doors and created the opportunity for me to do so many things and connect with so many, you know, GOAT producers and GOAT artists. You know, from that point on, it was nonstop, and it showed in the work because, like, I was consistently releasing.
Yeah, a lot of bangers on that album. The track too, where you did the different flows and stuff from different MCs. That shit was super creative. Killed that one
that's
too.
The all-in-one 5 mics. Thank you. Like, man. You know, that's a mainstay when I do showcases. I got to do that. You know.
Yeah, man. You talk about lyricism and you know, MCing. I mean, that's a great example of it. Everyone should check that track out if you haven't heard it. What's the name of the song again for everyone out there?
It's called All in One, parentheses 5 mics. You know, like, because it's me with the, you know, 4 GOAT MCs that like I take on doing Tupac, Biggie Smalls, Big Pun, Big L.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the way you captured each rapper, each artist with their flow was really dope. The only other person I heard do that was Black Thought. He has that one track where he does Big Daddy Kane and G-Rap. And
yeah, that was really dope.
Yeah,
that was really dope.
But aside from that one, your track's the only other joint I think really that I've heard that we really pull it off.
I haven't really heard many people even do it.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever heard anyone other than that, like you said, that Black Thought one. I don't know if anybody's ever done it.
Nah, man.
So then you was working. You worked with Styles P, Alchemist, DJ Premier,
High Tech. What was it like to work with those legendary hip hop icons?
Again, game changing and like, you know, surreal moments. Like throughout that whole period in time, like working with so many MCs and producers who I revered and, like, you know, appreciated so much just as a fan. It was incredible that, like, you know, they were willing to work with me on a music tip and respected what I was doing to the point where, like, we could make something like that happen. You know, P-Rock,
yep.
You know, it's and even before, like, the Large Pro, like, Large Pro is one of my favorites, and to have the opportunity to work with Large Pro more than once, that's a phenomenal feeling.
Yeah, and so you worked with a lot of them on the 2011 album Rhythmic Eternal King Supreme, which was nominated for a hip hop award at the Boston Music Awards, and it peaked 41 on the Billboard Heat Seekers chart. Tell us about that album a little bit, because that's one of your biggest albums to date.
That was at that time, like, you know, my biggest album, and it was like a breakthrough in many ways for me. And I got a funny story about like before I like talk. I mean, after I talk about just the album itself. Like the album was a moment of growth for me. I feel as an artist, and I really felt like I was doing some of my best writing at the time, and being able to like tap into like so many things creatively, and do certain challenging records and tap into my personal emotions, like records like This Is Me and Mr. Nobody and 20 Like a Star, and then deal with like stuff that are mainstays in my commentary, talking about the experiences as a Black man in this society, specifically Western culture. Just my view and my vision of things as I know. And then just show off the aggression that has always been a mainstay in my pitch through hip hop. So like that was that type of album for me. But the funny thing is, like, I won an award, an urban music award, for in New York, and when I won the award, I was up against a few people, but one specifically was at that time it was the T.H.I.N.G.S album.
Okay.
And then I went to go, like, when I got called, I was gonna head on stage, and Keith Murray's on stage trying to accept my award.
Really?
I'm like, yo,
Wow.
this dude jumped on, so I had to go on stage and be like, yo, fam.
Like Steve Harvey was the announcer.
Like, yo, like I know a lot of people have different stories like that, but it was like, yo, it was just a funny little like experience.
Did he not realize that they said REKS and not Keith Murray?
No, he realized. He just I guess loved his album so much.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? So like because the crazy part is I was so far away from the stage. Like it was myself, Static, my cousin, and her husband at the time, and we were seated like towards the back of the event space we were in. And Keith Murray was at the front. He was in the group at the front. I don't think Cannabis was there, but it was him. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, yo, they call my name and he goes on stage and starts like, just about to spew his little like thank yous and what have you. And I had to go on stage and be like, yo.
Wow.
Chill, man.
Wow.
Let me get my award.
That's good. He was going to start giving shout outs and stuff. And
yo, dog. I think, no, he did start giving shout outs. He was shouting out people from the album.
Wow.
Like, all right, but yeah, that's not my album, bro. So,
wow.
It wasn't nothing serious. It wasn't nothing serious, but it was just a funny little occurrence.
Yeah,
you look back years later and laugh on. Yeah, like that was 2011 and a successful period for me with the music. Like you said, so many gold producers and MCs I got to work with on that.
What's a little bit of your song creating process? When you're going in, especially when you're going into making an album.
I like to vibe out in different locations. I have a tendency, like right now, I came back to Boston to just soak up the environment, and I'm in writing mode. And I have a tendency, like nowadays, it's like I'll get an Airbnb or I'll get a hotel, and I spend my days like penning stuff on my own, just vibing, what have you, testing out just different studios and whatnot before I even find the location. I'm really gonna like focus on being the spot where I record the material. I like to work with the same like engineer that throughout the process of the project, if possible. Sometimes you like might record something at a different location, but the objective is to really record everything in a cohesive style. This past album that I just dropped, I worked with a producer by the name of John Glass, super dope producer, super dope engineer. Has a group called The Squad, originally Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Glass House Productions, and we did some amazing work. So like I have a tendency to do that, immerse myself in whatever environment I'm in. I had one album where I went out to California and I did all the recording there. New York is a consistent location for me to do some work. Just the places I, on the East Coast, it's usually either Boston, New York, Georgia, or Florida. You know, I like those are the locations, and then I just like I gotta go for self, be in my own little environment. I can't have like a lot of chaos going on around me when I'm writing, but I can't. I mean, I can if like it's necessary.
Yeah.
But when I'm doing it on my own accord, it's my own focus. I tend to do it that way. Sometimes right in the studio, I'm a pretty fast writer. No matter what the topic is, I like over the years. That's not to toot my own horn. It's just like how I've always written.
Yep.
And sometimes it's funny. Like I've been in the lab with certain MCs, and they'll be like, "Yo, you didn't write that right now. There's no way you wrote that right now." You know what I mean? Because it's like 30 minutes later, I have this barred up verse. But it's like, yeah, it's just what I do. You know what I mean? What I've always done.
Well, you're a writer, man. You're a lyricist, so that's what you do. Like you just said.
Yeah. But everybody's process is different, and no process is better than any other process.
Right.
Some people need to sit down and they'll do 4 bars and then write 4 bars another day or something like that, and they create, and the final version is outstanding. And that everybody's process is different. And so I didn't say I write fast to again, it wasn't to say my process is any better than anybody else's. It's more just to say that's just how I write.
So you dropped a total of 12 albums?
A total of 12 albums, plus not including the mixtape. I have a few mixtapes out there.
Seven EPs.
Yeah, 12 albums, 7 EPs. I mean, you have a big music catalog. You've been a prolific, active artist ever. After your little hiatus that you went on.
Oh, absolutely. And features is a major aspect of how I live.
Yeah.
I'm featured on so many projects.
Yeah, I mean, that's just that's the independent hustle, or in general, the hustle for musicians,
absolutely,
rappers.
Absolutely.
Now talk about your newest album. It's called Things, but it's there's a title name behind that.
Absolutely. The new album, Things, it stands for The Hunger Inside Never Gets Satisfied. It's an acronym for and an understanding of the parallels between really for me, it's my personal experiences in my life paralleled against what's going on in the world around us, but also the understanding of people being so caught up in material things and material nature when other things are so much more important and imperative for us to grow and live a valuable life. Yeah,
it's a really good album, very cohesive. A lot of knowledge being dropped. I mean, you're definitely an MC who steadily drops knowledge. Along the lines of some of the other greats that have done that.
You just dropped knowledge right now.
Well, exactly. I mean, obviously, you're well versed in many things, and that's important because that's kind of missing in a lot of the rap game nowadays.
Absolutely. I mean, well, let me say this. I don't know if it's so much missing. I feel like it's not
slept on.
Highlighted.
Yeah,
it's not highlighted exactly. Yeah. So I think the objective for us to we get what we're looking for, and obviously I can delve into so much. There's so much new material, new music I love.
Yeah.
Where there's valuable information, and to me, I love a lot of the stuff that we grew up on, but I can't truly listen to it throughout the day when I'm spending 3 hours out of the day meditating and doing my yoga practices. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that and then go listen to Ready to Die. Yeah. I just can't do it, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in a different mind frame.
Yeah, I can value Biggie for who he has been throughout my career and helping me to grow as an artist without having to, go ahead and listen to that. Sometimes I get into certain bags and I'm not gonna front. I'll go listen to Warriors and I need me a little dose of MOP to get, you know what I mean, to get in that bag. And sometimes I'm there. MOP is one of my main go-tos, for that aggression.
I love
that
MOP.
feel.
That's workout music, man. Yeah.
Not to mention, there's some of the most slept on, lyricists,
real
talk.
You. Yeah.
and then there's so many individuals I value as artists that I'm able to work with right now, and it's kind of bugged out. Like, and I mean, I know, like, on this album, I got to work with Pharrell Monch, who I grew up like
one of the best.
Just I lost my mind when that was possible, and some of the positive things he had to say about me as an artist in passing and through others. Like, it was incredible to work with him because I still just remember listening to his records early on, from Organized Confusion days to his solo career, and just knowing how phenomenal of a lyricist he is, and how I valued my pen more, and I was more conscious of like what efforts I needed to put forth because of people like him, because of him, because of OC, and because of like a plethora of artists. Like specifically, it's crazy because a lot of artists who deserve so much more respect and accolades, and I kind of like mirror some of their like paths. I believe Pharrell was at a trajectory that was like so highlighted early, and it was like starting to grow and gain certain attentions, and then that kind of teetered off. But like, he still remains a consistent, constant, elevated lyricist throughout the game. Brothers like R.A. the Rugged Man is like that, and artists who are like they've gained some good successes, but I feel like they still deserve so much more flowers.
Yeah, Pharrell was definitely ahead of his time. That Stress, the Extinction Agenda, that album's fucking incredible. And
oh my goodness!
If you even go back a little further, you go back and listen to Releasing Hypnotical Gases. I think that's from their first album, the first Organized Confusion album. I mean, that was just a different level, man, and especially for that time period. I mean, that guy was he's incredible. He's an incredible fucking rapper.
Yeah, he's a different level, a different breed, and it was crazy. Full circle again, like like my son, like I wouldn't want to get into like a hip hop trivia with him because he's like, he studies, he's like a student for real. And what's crazy is like I never like pushed music on any of my my progeny. What I'm saying? I never focused on that. And he would come to me and he'd be like, yo, give me 5 albums to listen to. He'd come in and he'd be like, and to the point where now, all he does is do that. His favorite artist is Q-Tip. Nice. And so I'm in the studio one day, and I'm me and my homie DJ Heron, a super dope producer and DJ down in Miami. We're just sitting there vibing, and we're listening to the Stress album, and we're just thinking back about how incredible this album is. And so I hit Pharrell up and let him know. And then I hit my son and I was like, yo, you got to listen to this album. And he replies 10 of 10. He's like, yo, this is one of my favorite albums. And I'm like, it just bugs me out that like he predated me like with the knowledge of that album.
He's like, yo, Dad, I already been listening to this album.
This kid is a digger. He's a digger.
That's dope. That's dope to see that the younger kids are doing that. There's kids that are digging. Because sometimes I feel like hopeless about that. From talking to certain kids. It's more the group that's a little older than my son that we got to worry about. Not so much my son's age bracket. How old?
Age bracket.
How old is your
He's
son?
17.
Okay.
He's 17.
Okay.
And a lot of the stories I'm hearing about the kids at that age, they're so into like the other stuff. Like, for instance, my son, like me and him have this discussion about Tribe Called Quest, and I'm like, my favorite album is Midnight Run.
Yep.
His is Low End Theory.
Okay.
That's incredible.
Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying? It's
for
incredible that,
too.
like,
yeah.
Yo, and same thing with De La. Like, I'm telling him to listen to State High, and he's going back to the old stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, I love this material more.
Yeah, that's
and like
dope.
It says a lot about his ear as far as production.
Yeah.
Because obviously those are very specific pockets and times during hip hop, the transitional period of like how production was sounding.
Yeah.
which is dope. It's just dope.
No, it is. Now, do you think? Now, I was going to ask you about how you feel about the current state of hip hop. Now, with you mentioning your son at his age and going back and digging into the classics, do you think that like the boom bap sound is making a resurgence? I mean, I don't think it ever died, but I feel like hip hop has become one sided over the last number of years. But it seems like maybe that. You know, the sound, the boom bap sound, the golden era sound is kind of making its way back, and kids are getting into it.
I feel, yeah, some of that is coming back, but I also feel like it's unnecessary for us to, concern ourselves with it ever disappearing or leaving, because what's here to stay is here to stay, and that's definitely here to stay. I value the newer sound for what it is. I had a tendency before not to have an open ear and understanding of the growth into so many different aspects and dimensions. And we have to stop like negating the creative process of the youth and like allow them to have their creative juices flow, and it can coexist.
Yeah,
you can coexist throughout without being like, oh, we have to have one or the other. And for many of the artists that like, Dreamville, there's a brother by the name of Toby and Wigway. He just dropped a record. He's a rapper from Houston.
I'm familiar with him,
Texas. Yeah, not a lot of people know him, but like, he's a super dope MC and singer and just an artist in his own right. And the sound is different, but I love what he does, and there's so many artists in that like. And then at the same time, we obviously have phenomenal artists like Rhapsody and Ciroc, who are like, mainstays in the sound that we, know to be true to like the original.
Yeah.
So we can appreciate all aspects.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, because I mean, music is naturally going to progress and evolve. It's this is how it goes. But I just felt maybe more like certain things were being pushed to the masses, and there wasn't like balance.
That's always going to be the case.
Yeah.
Like that's not just with music. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna sell us the poison food, man. It's just like, what do you buy into? What do you adhere to?
Right.
I like if we're buying into the system, then we're gonna be a part of the system's toxicity.
Yeah.
Like, but if we allow ourselves to like transcend higher than that, then that's what's gonna occur. And I choose to transcend higher, and just consistently engage with what matters most to me. It's all time, space, all this other stuff is just illusions anyway. So like we just get caught up in the day to day and focus on what the system tells us how things are supposed to play out or be. And when you're caught up like that, then you're going to find importance in this negative music that's out there, or negative imagery on the television, or the negative things the media has to say, like their negative spins on everything, fear mongering, like all that, the propaganda. But if you don't buy into that, then you're good. And I feel in hip hop, we're gonna always be good.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's a great perspective.
Rex, do you have any upcoming plans besides? I know you're doing the book. You just released the album. Anything else in the works?
Right now, today I just came from a meeting with one of the individuals at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. We've been working on for a period of time. I've been on a board of members who are, helping in the release of the new Basquiat exhibit, the Basquiat gallery exhibit that's coming to Boston. And so I'm going to be doing like a special show, a special showcase that was going to be aired. The museum is making sure that it gets out to the people, and so that's going to be really cool. Like we're going to do a showcase in conjunction with the Basquiat exhibit. I'm going to be rocking with a band and DJ Deadeye. It's going to be super dope.
Shout out to Deadeye.
I got super dope producer, knowledgeable, and super dope executive producer, super dope DJ. And leader of the ST the Squad, him in turn. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing, man. Like, we're going to make something powerful and memorable. And then I'm working on a new album that many know, my Gray Hairs album. I have a new album called Black Heirs.
Okay.
Like, so it's like it heirs to the throne. So it's, just a feed off of that Gray Hairs energy. But now we're bringing it to like the legacy building.
I got you.
Is that gonna be a virtual show? Because obviously with COVID,
it will be a virtual show. Yeah, like we're not gonna we're gonna adhere to the regulations and stuff like that. So yeah, until time permits something else to happen, that's how we're gonna do it. But this is gonna be a phenomenal night to like get people engaged, and like people can do what we do when all these live battles happen. We could just party and get our drinks and like, be in the living room around the fire, around whatever you do in your crib,
right? And
just zone out with the music.
Now, being a touring artist, how do you feel about the future of shows with the whole COVID situation and everything, and where do you hope to see it?
Well, where I hope to see it is back to normal.
Right.
I know there's going to be a new normal, and I've already prepared myself for the fact that I may never tour again.
Really?
Because the reality is I've already seen the requirements that we're going to have to have a vaccine passport,
right. Yep.
And I'm not getting no vaccine, so that's not happening. So
that's a big controversy right now.
Yeah, like if then ain't nobody putting no needle in me.
Yeah,
and ain't putting it in my children. So it's terrible because I was supposed to get married. I would be married again. This past September, we were supposed to get married, and we were planning to go to Africa for the first time. And, the old little nuances of what we needed to do, I would have done them gladly. But now with the new restrictions and guidelines and, my distrust for this government, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Nah, I don't blame you.
Oh, yeah, they're making you get vaccines just to go to bars and stuff.
That's what I heard. I heard that you're gonna have to get a passport just to do regular things. That I've heard rumors of that.
Yeah. So you're gonna need a passport to travel in the United States for sure.
Yeah.
They're like obviously they're already changing the ID.
Yeah, the real ID.
The ID 2020. ID 2020 is a real thing. People already know anything connected with 2020 is some craziness, man. But like, it's all real, man. It's all real.
What's the 2020 connection? I don't want to go down in.
You never heard of ID 2020?
I don't know.
Are you talking about the real ID, Rex?
Yeah.
Yeah. They've been doing that out here in the registry for like a year now. They've been pushing it.
Yeah. So like, I mean, it's all like
it's pretty much just like that or a passport. They're probably gonna I don't think they're doing away with passports, but
but you're gonna need new kind of like passports and stuff.
I think the real ID is kind of like a passport. I think it's kind of like a new version of a passport. Would I guess be my best understanding of it.
Yeah, because you're not going to be able to use your old ID at all.
Yeah, you're like a driver's license. Okay, yeah, so it would be just a real ID in place of a passport, but you can't travel with, I think. But we can't really use our real ID to travel.
So you'll have a real ID and a passport and a driver's license?
No, you'll have a real ID, either a real ID and a passport, or either a driver's license and a passport, or a driver's license and a real ID.
Why?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know. Man, Rex, do you know why?
This is the key.
If you know why, please enlighten us.
I don't want to get too
$75
I don't want to get into like, because I don't believe in conspiracy theory. I believe theories are like what they are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't buy into like when they try to explain the real propaganda is coming from individuals at the top, trickling down. Individuals can misinform and manipulate information and have their own agendas as well, and turn conversations toxic. My intentions are not to turn conversations toxic, but I do not trust, again, this government. I do not trust certain individuals who are connected to what's the game plan for having real IDs. Mm. And I don't feel like I'm not one of the individuals who think like COVID was created in a lab, but I do believe that because of what happened with COVID, certain things were instituted and individuals like took advantage of the circumstance as we know it, and utilized it to the best of their advantage. And now this is creating complete chaos and fear and misinformation across the board. Like everybody has their theory, and everybody knows more than the people who know anything.
Right.
So like it's just ridiculous. I don't walk, like, every time I walk into a room full of people I know, I prepare myself to disconnect from the nonsense information that I'm going to be fed.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a
good
way to
I have to prepare myself to say,
dumb down a little bit just so you don't get too
to keep your sanity. I think you might have to do that.
People have so much knowledge that is just not knowledge, and they're just feeding it to you.
Yeah,
they're spewing it out of their mouth as if it's just facts. And I'm like, how do you walk around with this kind of understanding with zero credible information?
Yeah, that happens a lot.
You know what I'm
saying? That's a great question.
Like, you have zero proof, you have zero credible reason to believe in what you believe, but that's just how you walk around spewing. And then because you spewed it, somebody else spewed it.
Yeah,
I have people, like, I'm not gonna name names, but like, I got people who, like that I know that their messages are so lost that they connect with QAnon and they connect with, like, Democrats.
Yeah,
their belief systems fall all over the place.
Where do you where do you stand politically? We don't have to get too deep into it. But
politically, I'm disconnected. I'm not connected to any of this nonsense. I don't trust any of them. I don't rock with Joe Biden. I don't rock with Trump.
No, I'm with you.
I've never rocked with Obama or any of the other ones. So, like, anybody who, I'll tell you this: I voted for Obama the first time.
Okay,
that was very connected to a moment of lost clarity.
Yeah,
like, where I was like, there's a monumental moment in history.
Yeah,
so I got caught up in the hype.
That happened with a lot of people, I think.
I definitely got caught up in the hype.
You weren't alone.
Then I realized that, like, what am I doing? I don't even believe in this. So the second time I was like, why am I voting for this dude? I don't, and I distrusted the system.
Yeah.
So, like, I believe the system is flawed. I'm of the mindset that until you deal with the foundation, it's going to consistently be faulty. So, like, I don't really care what position politically people hold or what they believe, like, will occur. None of the nonsense that we believe is going to, none of the positives that we think are going to transpire are going to transpire. We can't buy into it because it's not real.
Yeah,
but people buy into it year after year.
They do. Yeah.
Second by second.
Somebody's
believing something.
Yeah, no, you ain't lying about that. So would you call yourself independent? Or not?
No.
Not even. Not even.
No.
The disconnected party.
No.
You're gonna stop the record.
I am disconnected. I am disconnected to this belief system. The system is flawed.
Yeah.
I don't believe.
Disconnect too.
Well, I think
so. Like, listen, I read the Constitution. I read the Constitution regularly as well. And my problem is that the Constitution is flawed. There are many aspects of the Constitution that we adhere to this day, and monumental changes. To get a monumental change, like, something enacted, it takes sometimes decades. Like, sometimes it takes a century. Like, there's very little movement of true matter. Like, there is very little traction for ideas. Even if like, the understanding is of what is right, what is ethical in this world that we know, there's zero traction, because we have a system that consistently bides two parties against each other, even though there are various parties.
Yes. And
but it's a popularity contest.
Yeah, it's so old.
It's so old. Like, you don't
so
think.
outdated.
I mean, just because of technology alone and everything that has happened in the next 100 years, like, you're gonna, like, you have to come up with some new shit.
Yeah. Why do we only have a two-party system?
But it's because it's working to the benefit of those individuals who want to keep us in the ignorant bracket, and we choose to remain in the ignorant bracket. Individuals don't know anything about the Constitution. People don't know about the existence of saying what Thomas Paine believed. People don't understand what Adam Smith wrote. They don't understand any of this.
No, they know what they saw on CNN,
right?
Or Fox.
Their belief system comes from propaganda. They feed off of fear. They feed off of hate baiting, all that stuff.
Yeah, you brought up that earlier. Fear mongers.
Fear mongering, yeah. Huge.
That's all. That's all that exists.
Yep.
That's all that
everyone's
exists.
going to buy milk and bread and guns.
Exactly. You go in to buy. You try to buy toilet paper. You can't even get toilet paper because people are like wilding.
Right.
It's like, yo, man, I can't get toilet paper done.
Yeah, you could just shit and then shower. You're good.
Rex, would you agree?
That's all you gotta do.
Would you agree that racism is man-made?
I mean, race as the word race. Period. The races is man-made. Definitely. I mean, we can go back to Carl Linnaeus. You know what I'm saying? And classification systems and things of that nature, and find that I believe a lot of it started there.
Yep.
And classification of different individuals or what have you, and then yes, absolutely, I believe it's created. It's unnecessary to this culture that we know. It's a necessity. It will always exist in the culture that as we know it. And that's terrible to know and to have to say, but it's a reality. Like, in order for this system to exist in its current state, racism has to exist. Misogyny has to exist. All the isms.
The isms.
Hatred for individuals, hatred for individuals, and fear of each other has to exist in order for them to confuse the masses. In order for them, as long as you keep the masses divided, then you can continue to impress your will. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think we'll ever see a time where that changes, or do you think humans are too flawed and the system is too flawed?
I don't know if I truly understand the question. You said, say it again?
Do you think we'll ever see a time where that, racism and all the isms and everything, it evolves into a more positive state in society? I don't think so either, but I just wanted to ask.
I mean, I'm an anarchist. At heart, when it comes to in material nature, I'm like, yo, blow the whole thing up, bro. That's the only possibility, and I don't think that's gonna happen. So Seiko and Vizetti, it's just not gonna happen. So I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's just best to concentrate on yourself and your family and people that mean something to you, right?
Absolutely. I think the best way you can be effective and be an example is to just go inward and just consistently and beyond even the connection with family and all that comes second nature to just connecting with y'all, being able to find your divine truth, transcend beyond who you are in this physical plane.
Word.
And everything else will take care of itself.
Well said.
Yeah, that's great. All right, bro. You want to give out your social media, website, any contacts, and
shout outs?
Yeah, anything like that.
Yeah. So, if anybody's looking to loconnect with me on social media, specifically for me, the big one is IG. That's REKS Hip Hop. If you go to the link in my bio on IG, you're able to connect to my smart URL, which has all my material. The link tree, all that stuff that connects you to the music, the new vinyl. A very big thing with me is the vinyl that I have for T.H.I.N.G.S, which has a Pan-African red, black, green splatter over the design. An incredible art piece done by the super talented D.V. Van Buren. You can at D.V. Van Buren or at Place Money Here. You can go to his site to find information on some graphic design artwork. Another big shout out to my brother, Andre X. Who is Andre X? He's a super talented artist who also did a lot of graph work for me. He produced the song Brotherly Love on my new album. Producer, MC, singer, artist with our new label BMGI. We have a lot of artists coming out this year. Look out for Andre X. Look out for Rael. Look out for an Diesel project, which will be big. And Diesel is a group consisting of myself, Lucky Dice, and Chi-Nox.
Oh, dope.
Long-awaited,
Dice.
and necessary. Absolutely.
Yo, I haven't heard that name in a long. I don't want to cut you off, but I remember Lucky Dice when he was dropping joints back in the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, he's still working hard. He's still working hard. If you get a chance, look up the album Mosa. He dropped the album Mosa back in it was like 2018 or 2017.
Okay.
So like that's a super dope slept on album. And again, like I said, we're dropping a new album, and people are gonna really want to hear our brother T.H.I.N.G.S, who's a super duper dope MC. And this is our debut project. You know, it took a very long time, but like we're so happy with it. And I hope to come back on the show and then talk about the album when it drops.
Of course,
a lot of the game that we've been talking with myself, my brother Chi, and my brother Dice, when we get together, the energy flow is super ill, and you're gonna get a lot of that on this new album.
Yeah, man, I look forward to hearing that album, your new album, and you can come back on anytime, even to talk about the other stuff too.
Yeah,
I mean, that,
sure.
that was, that was really good.
I'm with it. Like I like to like do like I don't know how you do it. Like if you're able to like get other individuals involved, but like I said, my brothers, I'd love to get on and get my wife involved, and then you could see some of the. She could start talking some of the nutrition, and she's super dope, and she's super dope in that, and talking about the meditation and us transcending and all that. So
yeah, that'd be great. We could definitely work something out. Yeah, definitely. We could definitely make it happen.
Beautiful. I appreciate y'all taking the time with me.
Yeah, bro. Of course. Thanks for coming on. We're gonna end the show with Animal Kingdom off the new album.
Yeah, I got Animal Kingdom.
Okay,
yeah, let's end it with Animal Kingdom.
All right, Rex, man, we appreciate you, man, coming on, taking
Thank
some
you,
time.
brother. Thank you.
Some real shit, bro.
Appreciate y'all.
Man.
Definitely.
Cool. We'll be in contact real soon.
Sounds good. We'll talk.
Sure.
All right,
thanks,
bro.
Rex.
Thank you.
Ended in Animal Kingdom.
Rex, new album Things. Go get that right now. All digital platforms. Buy the vinyl. Support what this brother's doing, man. One of the best hip hop artists out right now, out of Lawrence, Massachusetts, Boston, New England. You already know.
Rex Hip Hop Instagram.
Yes, sir. Rex Hip Hop. Make sure you follow him.
Share everything. Street Corner Soapbox. We're fucking out of here.
REKS Hip Hop. REKS Hip Hop.
REKS Hip Hop. REKS Hip Hop. Make sure you follow.
Word.
Street Corner Soapbox.
All
We're fucking out of here.
Peace.
From the concrete, came from the jungle where you don't sleep. Rumble, young man, rumble where you don't speak. To the police, gorillas are killers. Gorillas, kill us. Gorillas, gorillas are killers. Monkey see, monkey do. You animal fool, appetizing. Better get the strap, cause the bear trap is sizing. Horizon, enticing. Who decided who living or dying? In the den of lions, in the kingdom of the cage bird. Exchange words with the loud beat. Thou shalt be beat to sleep. From the concrete, where rat speaks to pig. Sydney, Moncrief, Hawkeye, Tower's Edge. View the landscape, man determined by what a man make. Careful of the sly fox and the snake's handshake. Zoology, building with the colony. Butterfly effect from chaos to harmony. Your things, the hunger inside. Now get she to follow the flock. Love for hip hop is deep on the creek. Peep the savagery. Microphone mastery. On the hunt, so no hunters after me. Bully. From the concrete. Came from the jungle where you don't sleep. Rumble, young man, rumble where you don't speak. To the police. Gorillas are killers. Gorillas. Killers, gorillas, gorillas are killers. Yo, Hund is their best of friend. Desmanes, porque perseguir al gato, Deutsch, y Spanish in any tongue. Rex, the unsung lyricist, greatest unknown, Bigfoot of the penmanship. No witnesses, flow with the pit, saliva, mental improviser, freestyle, fellowship, membership, rider for my dogs. In the kennel, I'm the general. King Kong got nothing on my spill syllables. Since the umbilical, cord saw the sword. I've been fishing with the sharks, pencil darts on the board. All aboard, das dead. Saddle up, I'm speedy as Gonzalez with the knowledge signature and graffiti. Orangutan Tang slang, hardest of the not college. Use you water politics and the narcotics. Frolic in the wood, our wise days and the times of the unawoke and desensitized. That's right. From the concrete, came from the jungle where you don't sleep. Rumble, young man, rumble where you don't speak. To the police, gorillas are killers. Gorillas, kill us. Gorillas, gorillas are killers.
The Street Corner Soapbox.
If you're a fan of the podcast, you can help support the show by donating to our PayPal at paypal.me/Street Corner Soapbox.
That's right, guys. Make sure to like and share all of our episodes. And for easier access to our show, check out our link tree at linktr.ee/Street Corner Soapbox.